with that, we are live, technically speaking, assuming that nothing is broken, because everything has been broken lately, and that's just, honestly, I'm tired. I'm tired of everything breaking, and the live chat's not working now.
I'm tired of you breaking.
You know what? That's my mentality is in the gutter.
Like, that's just something you need to, like, I don't know, fiddle. Words.
There's the slow caps. There we go. We're good.
Are they coming in?
Yes, chat
is the chat working?
Coming in.
I don't know if the chat is working. Oh, look!
Yeah. Usually it gets, like, all of the chat from beforehand and piles it on, but this time it just, like...
It just starts.
Slow claps, not slow caps. Shut up, Catherine. Slow claps. You know what? It's time. Just, there's a nerf, for the YouTube algorithm, there's a Nerf gun if the orange barrel didn't, like, give it away. I'm just, ow, that actually hurt quite a bit.
Don't hurt yourself.
That was weird. Waffle darts actually hurt a decent chunk. That's a bit much. Anyhow.
Jesus fucking Christ.
What?
Cirrus.
So, that said.
Cirrus. All right, so I'm researching this bill you gave me because it is... All right, so it says there's a contribution. Cirrus has a thing that he wants to talk about, and I have a thing I want to talk about.
We're going to talk about Ocean's thing first, because I think Ocean's thing is more prudent. Mine is more ranty.
Is it? Oh, yeah. It's, I guess, I don't know. This is pretty prudent.
Well, it's prudent in that it's recent legislation, but...
Yeah.
But they're both very intertwined, because they both technically have something to do with immigration.
That's... Technically, I guess. Yeah, I guess that's true. So, Leif Erikson Day was yesterday. Commonly known as Columbus Day for whatever reason. But there's like there's been a lot of like weird discussions about it, and I got into a couple of arguments on Twitter because that's what life is right now.
Life is nothing but weird arguments on Twitter.
But one point that I want to fucking make about Columbus, like, you know, he's a genocidal fuck.
I was about to say he was a rapist.
There's a lot of like rape and slave trade and genocide and all that kind of crap going on with him that for whatever reason we just fucking ignore. Do you hear that?
I do.
Yeah.
That's weird.
There's a speed bump right outside my house. So whenever like a car with a large engine comes up right next to my house.
Yes, whenever a driver with a tiny penis comes near your house.
Yeah, I mean, you know, whatever. It's the revs happen right after the speed bump always. Because it's like, oh, boom, boom. So, anyway, Christopher Columbus is this celebrated human for crossing the Atlantic Ocean.
He sailed the ocean blue.
He's not even you can get into a lot of specifics about where you would wind up being like, oh yeah, Christopher Columbus did an achievement here. And it's like, okay, so is he the first person to cross the Atlantic or the first person to reach North America?
No.
By far, no. There's the whole civilizations over there.
Ignoring the civilizations that were already there, you've got Amerigo Vespucci and other shit. Like, there's more to it than Columbus.
Right. So, is he the first European to make it there? No.
No?
Is he the first European to make it there and set foot on the land? No. Is he the first person to set foot on the actual continent of North America?
No.
No, in fact, he never did. Is he or first European even? Is he the first European to establish a colony there? No. No, he's not. Is he the first... there's a ton of these things. So I want to go through some of these firsts as far as like, you know, first person there was somebody who crossed over from either the Polynesian highway going across the Pacific or the land bridge going across Alaska. It's up in the air which one it was. But then there's, you know, if you get into first Europeans over, there is this nice little fucking saga right here called the Vinland saga, in which I can give you some of the fucking firsts. So, first person to cross the Atlantic, according to this record, usually we credit Leif Erikson. And Leif Erikson was the son of Eric the Red. The first person to reach and set foot on and establish a colony and govern a place in the North American continent is Eric the Red, landing on Greenland.
Mm-hmm.
So even the credit to Leif Erikson doesn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense. Then you get into the discovery of Vinland, which was done not by Leif Erikson, but by another guy named Bjarni. And Bjarni never took a step foot off the boat. Bjarni just traveled across and he said, oh, look, there's fucking land. And then he fucked off and went back. There's another guy, then there's Leif Erikson, follows after that and actually gets off the boat. But it was because of Bjarni. Bjarni came back and was like, look, there's fucking land over there. Then Leif Erikson goes over. Then there's another guy named Thorvald. Then there's another guy named Thorstein. And then there's another expedition from Thorfinn Karlsefni, which is hard to pronounce. There's another Eric the Red's daughter, Freydis Eriksdottir, makes another expedition. She's the first admiral to cross the ocean because she does with 2 ships. And that went disastrously, but there was a colony and a settlement started there. But this shows Columbus is not the first, second, third, or fourth person to fucking do this of any of these things. So,
and yet,
yeah.
And yet we choose Columbus. And you know what's weird? We've got whole fucking like animated shows dedicated to teaching children that Columbus did this too
And discovered America, right?
And when we get, I remember seeing these shows as a kid, and one of the things was like the king going, the world is flat, and Columbus going, I don't believe it's flat. I can prove it too by sailing to India. And that
That's another thing. At least the Norse recognized that they weren't in fucking India. They figured out they were in a completely new place. They're like, this is not, no one knows about this. And on top of that, when did Columbus sail across? 1492, right? It's the whole, like, the rhyming thing.
Yeah.
The Greenland colony existed until the late 1300s, possibly into the early 1400s. So Columbus discovered North America within 50 to 100 years of the abandonment of a colony there that had been there for about 300 years.
Discovered is being used very loosely here.
Yeah. Yeah, that there was healthy trade with between Greenland and Iceland and Norway.
I like
going
the
back
chat.
and forth.
I like the chat in the section so far. The Chad Vikings versus the Virgin Columbus.
Oh my god. On top of that, so Columbus never set foot on the fucking continent itself. Leif Erikson likely did, because we have the settlement in Newfoundland, just north of Maine. There's an island that seems to have it's considered part of the greater continent of North America, and there's a settlement there. Beyond that, it does seem that there were branches going south, that there might have been Viking settlements as far south as fucking Boston, and might have even gone a little bit like inland into Canada for a distance. But there's not much established proof of that, but it seems to be the case, especially when you look at the description and the Vinland sagas of them traveling around and doing all sorts of stuff. The funny thing is that it's called Vinland because there's so many grapes there. And when you look at what they mistook as grapes, it's really strange. The Vikings were just like, grapes, and there's like these hard green things that grow on trees. There's like Vinland. But Leif Erikson comes from a tradition of his father going to this ice-covered glacier of an island and then coming back to Iceland and being like, come with me to Greenland.
Oh. And
so
and then we end up having the whole like the saga of selling Greenland versus Iceland later.
Right. Look, Greenland, come to come to Greenland. He gets exiled from Iceland, right? Because he's drunk and gets in fights a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Fucks off across the ocean and gets over to Greenland and is like, it's lonely here. I kind of want friends. So he comes back and he says, are y'all annoyed with like the overly weird libertarian bullshit that's run on this island? Because in order to get somebody arrested, you have to hire the police. How about you come with me over to this new place I'm founding on another island that is far north of this cold land called Iceland. I'm calling Greenland. You want to come? So he winds up swindling a bunch of Icelandic farmers to get on fucking boats and run across the fucking Atlantic Ocean
To
with
go
him.
to a fucking glacier island.
To go to a glacier.
Yeah.
Called Greenland.
And now,
clever motherfucker, isn't he?
well, you know what happens at Greenland now, right? There's a war being fought over it where there's just a couple of flags and they just get knocked down every once in a while. And
I learned recently that in World War II, the Nazis kept setting up weather stations on Greenland in order to, because they had defeated Denmark, so they started claiming Greenland. So they started like sailing over and setting up weather stations in order to try and establish forward bases to attack the American mainland. And America had to step in somewhere around 42 and defend Greenland and say that Greenland is now a protectorate of America until we're able to liberate Denmark. Another thing is the difference between the relationship between the Vikings and the Native Americans when Leif Erikson came versus when Columbus came. Leif Erikson came, what happened with Columbus was fucked up, terrible. He basically sets things up and tries to establish a slave trade. And there's all kinds of a fucking mess that comes over with that. He says that he even writes down you could rule these people with a couple of muskets or whatever the fuck. Leif Erikson goes over, proceeds to meet nobody, and establishes a little colony and then fucks off. That's the extent of his interaction. So if you want to celebrate Leif Erikson, there's very little that's problematic going on there. There was, however, fights between the Native Americans and the Vikings later, I think in Thorstein's trip over and with Freydis Eriksdottir's trip over, where they established trade, but apparently they gave them milk, and them, the Native Americans being lactose intolerant, may have contributed to their understanding that they had been poisoned, which resulted in them attacking. Also, when Thorstein came, there were some people on the beach, and in true Viking fashion, they just killed them. Word of this apparently reached back the mainland, or the main camp, and they wound up getting attacked and rained on with arrows, and then they decided, fuck it, we're leaving because we're heavily outnumbered here. It's like 40 of them versus, according to legend, over 1,000 or something like that, people that came over and covered boats. So they're just like, fuck this, we're out of here. In Freydis' situation, there was an attempt to establish trade. It went wrong. There wound up being a fight. They won, but also were like, we can't do that over and over. And eventually they left as a result of infighting that happened after that. So they didn't try and do in fucking slave trade. They didn't do this. There's like all of this. You can talk about some of the issues that popped up, but it doesn't extend as deep anywhere near as much as
the shit with Columbus.
The shit with Columbus, right?
Because with Columbus, you get essentially genocide, or attempts at. Well, no, there's really not much of a distinction between genocide and the attempt, is there? Honestly, the attempt qualifies it for that. You get sex slavery. Like, he literally took indigenous people and made them sex slaves.
Mm-hmm.
That's. Whenever somebody's like, no, we celebrate Columbus, he's great. No, he's not. Unless you're willing for your daughter to be like that, then no, shut the fuck up. And if you are, go away. Please, go to prison and get help. So you look at something like that and you compare it to Columbus and just go, wow, hold on, wait, why do we celebrate Columbus? Oh, right. Let's look at the actual history of America and see how problematic America is in its history. And Columbus is probably the better fit. which is sad. If you really think about it, think about America's like history, and then look at Columbus versus Leif Erikson.
Yeah. Let's not think too hard about that. But with respect to like trying to figure out, okay, should we celebrate? You know, if is among European explorers that came over to North America and discovered something and then went back and said something about it. On top of that, the Vinland sagas might have inspired Christopher Columbus because they were written in the 1300s, just before, within about 100 years before Christopher Columbus, maybe 100, 150, somewhere in there, years before Christopher Columbus went over. He probably saw these documents, because he was a fairly well-read, educated guy. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was, at some point, came across the Vinland sagas and then was like, oh, I'm now inspired by this story of there's something over there. And he probably just thought that Vinland was India. And then went over and was like, oh, look, it's India. The world's round.
You just tried to convince me he was very well-educated, and then you said that.
Well... He's educated and not smart.
Okay.
That happens.
Yeah, you're right.
But he was also self-educated as well. Like, he was an autodidact. He didn't actually go... If what I read recently is true, he didn't actually, like, go to a school or anything like that. He just learned a lot over his life.
As you
but
do.
There's controversy as to whether or not he's even Italian. Apparently, he was born in Genoa. He might not have been. But... Anywho, let's see. Someone's saying Newfoundland is not Newfoundland. Okay, Newfoundland. Okay, well,
so technically
it says Newfoundland on the map. I don't know.
Yes, it is technically pronounced Newfoundland. However, I was under the impression you were doing that on purpose, and I was just going along with it.
I don't care. Pronunciations, but
no, pronunciations.
Yeah, Newfoundland.
Pronunciations.
It's Newfoundland, except with a Canadian accent. That's what it is. Oh yeah, Newfoundland.
Jen just goes, I didn't get an alert for this. Well, to be fair, this show was supposed to be live 45 minutes ago, but hell in a handbasket happened, preventing the show from actually going live.
Not my fault this time. It's all Cirrus.
It was me. First, the wheel in my chair broke as I was in the middle of animating a character for another channel. So I had to repair that. As a result, I have a drill near me because instead of trying to fix the
This
wheel,
is not a drill. This is not a drill.
This is though.
No, wait, that's actually a drill. Okay, this is a drill.
This is actually a drill. Because the wheel kept busting, I finally said, fuck it. The wheel doesn't need to turn, it just needs to hold me up. So I put the wheels, I put the pieces of the wheel back where they went, took a couple of drywall screws and just went... And now, the chair is working. It just can't roll anymore, but that's fine. It stopped breaking for now. I need to get a replacement chair.
Cirrus is no longer on a roll, guys.
I needed to replace the chair anyways because this chair has a weird, like... form factor where it's tilted down just very slightly, enough to where sitting in it for any long period of time is uncomfortable, which is really bad when you're streaming or working. So
Cirrus has a slip and slide as a chair.
If you just had some water running behind it, then yes, and in the summertime I'm sure I can simulate that.
So someone's asking, should we celebrate Indigenous peoples? Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Go ahead. It's much less problematic.
Right. It's like, I think that there's a number of things on the table. If the goal of the idea of like, all right, let's celebrate a European explorer who came over here or wherever the fuck, then I think that Leif Erikson is going to be a better person to celebrate, or any of the list of fucking Norse explorers that came over.
I should probably point out, it just occurred to me, there were actually more things that broke than just the chair. I have to get a new keyboard too.
Should we be concerned? Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Your keyboard decided to fuck up.
It just stopped working randomly, and like when I was typing, it would just full screen shit. It was like there was a function key pressed, so when I was clicking keys, it was trying to do whatever function was there, but no key was pressed. Normally that happens when I've got a cat on the keyboard. So the chair.
I've got an extra keyboard.
I I'm gonna be replacing it with
It's
a
a
new
mechanical
one.
keyboard.
It's gonna be fine. I got it.
It's a Razer keyboard.
Okay, it's fine though. I got this.
Okay.
I can replace it.
It does a thing where if I press the letter A, it puts in 2 A's every once in a while.
That is what's going on with Raz's keyboard right now too, except with the letter E.
Yep. Yeah. I learned that you can fix that by removing it and putting some alcohol on it and cleaning some things off, because it's usually the result of dust getting inside of the mechanics. But yeah, that's also that keyboard was very difficult to clean. Anywho, getting back to Indigenous Peoples Day. Leif Erikson Day, if you want to do that thing, then if you're like, oh, let's celebrate and explore, blah, 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 so on and such as, and that's cool. Leif Erikson is one way to do it. But I do think that if you're, like, as an official holiday, if you're supporting, like, a movement to have a state replacement for that holiday, Indigenous Peoples Day makes a whole lot of fucking sense. Like, a whole lot of sense. So, anywho, I think that I've got posts on my Twitter from Monday that include both of them. As my friend Wolf the Red posted a big thing about Leif Erikson, and there was also a lot of like little celebrations with Indigenous Peoples Day, which is actually, I think it's recognized by like 13 states now. Should be more, but yeah, I think that replacing Columbus Day with Indigenous Peoples Day is definitely policy I support. I don't. If having Leif Erikson Day as the official holiday change doesn't make it very much sense. But I definitely support Leif Erikson Day as a fucking meme. Like,
supporting memes is always good.
Yeah, absolutely. Leif Erikson Day is a great meme.
Also, I don't know why somebody mentioned that my volume levels are jumping, and I don't understand why that is. Though I am watching my volume levels, and they have, in fact, changed randomly over the course of the last minute. What the
I had noticed my thing doing that. Do you have Skype running in the background?
Shouldn't be, but let's check.
Oh, you shouldn't. I didn't think I did, but I did.
Let's find out. Task Manager. Yes, I do.
Go to Skype. Tell it to not fucking automatically start up at startup. Also, tell Skype not to automatically adjust your microphone levels.
I just
background.
I just turned it off.
Oh, but it still does it.
Even when you hit quit Skype?
Yeah. You need to go into Skype's options and tell it to stop that shit.
Okay, what the fuck?
Mine was some of my videos, the audio levels are off because the little thing on Audacity kept moving around.
That's what's happening on mine.
Yeah, and it's because of Skype.
So automatically adjust microphone settings, turn that fucking off.
Turn that off.
Okay.
And then suddenly Audacity will work as designed.
Here we are. Now let's hit quit Skype. Holy shit. Okay, cool. Is everything... Wait, why did it try to default back down to like 30 something? That's weird. Anyway, okay, maybe...
It probably tried to correct itself.
Let's hope it doesn't fucking try to do anything ever again. That'd be great. Okay, first of all, we got a super chat, $5 from Pasty Cake. I'm okay with Norwegian dude discovering the land mine that is America as a holiday. Yeah, I support the meme. 10 out of 10. Before we get into the next topic, though, unless there is more on this topic you'd like to talk about, Ocean.
Oh, I think I'm pretty much... I've word barfed the whole fucking thing. Unless you want to get me... Like, I will tell the whole story of the Vinland sagas if you damn well want me to.
I have a
because
better
it's
idea.
Hilarious and also involves a bull.
I have a better idea, Ocean. Why don't we do a collaborative story or a collaborative video where we go through the Vinland sagas and just, like, voice the characters?
Oh, no. That's definitely an idea.
Like,
I think
I think
at some point I definitely want to do a video on the Vinland sagas in which I go through everything. But if I'd been thinking, I would have done it this month and released it on fucking Columbus Day. But I didn't,
that
because I have every year forgotten about Columbus Day, that it's a thing until it happens,
This
and I'm
is
like,
what-
oh yeah, that we still do that.
This is what you deserve for that, Ocean. Just
I just didn't. Yeah, but I wasn't. It didn't. I don't. I aggressively don't care about Columbus Day until it's here, and then I'm like, why the fuck are we doing this? This guy was an asshole, and then yeah. But there's, yeah. I yelled at some people on Twitter. There was somebody that was trying to say that the Romans discovered America. I was like,
what? Does he just
it wasn't the Romans?
Does he just desperately need people he thinks are white to discover America?
Wasn't. Well, I mean, if you want to, you can call Leif Erikson white. I don't know why it needs to be the Romans, but I don't think that was the issue. I think it was just somebody who was confused about history. So I don't know.
Confusion and obfuscation generally go very hand in hand, like Poe's law.
It's true, but I think this person was just actually confused.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, like I can usually tell when someone's being an obtuse fuck, because usually they respond like 20 times. This person was like, "Oh, okay."
Normally you've got the person that just,
like the Romans didn't have ships that could cross the Atlantic. Like the triremes couldn't do that. So,
yeah. That said, before we get into the next topic, which is apparently this American legislation on immigration, which is weird. It's an October 2nd document, though I was not able to find out when the particular section that was a red alarm for me, or was a red flag for me, was written. If anybody can get any information on that, that would be supremely awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to send this to some... I should have done this already.
Yeah.
Person. I'm sending it to Jen Aldridge in WhatsApp, because I know Jen's in the chat, and Jen's like, yo. But I'm going to send this thing to Jen. Jen, you just got a WhatsApp.
If Jen actually knows about this, we could just bring Jen on at that point.
Yeah, I would be happy to do that, actually, because hearing Jen rant about this kind of stuff when she's already read a bunch on it is hilarious. But when I was reading this, I was just like, what in the fuck? But I was trying to figure out who sponsored it, when it came in, and all that kind of stuff.
She recognizes it.
She does?
Yep.
Oh, this piece of shit. Oh, okay. There was a lot of capital letters in that.
So, Jen, while you determine whether or not you have the faculties to potentially hop on and rant.
If you want to hop in and rant, no pressure, but if you want to. We can do the show without you doing it, but if you want to, I'm sure that there would be much entertainment coming out of it.
So while we figured that out, I do have a quick announcement to get into. So a few days ago, I did a stream, and on the stream, I was on Friday, I believe, and I mentioned that another YouTube channel that I know of that I watch recently got stolen. YouTube channel's name is Channel Pup. At the time, they were using a secondary account, much like I did, to kind of document what had been going on. That was called Pup Junior, but they are, as of right now, as of today, got their channel back. The channel is live again after being stolen. So, a couple things. One, this is their most recent video. Just linked it in the chat. If you guys can do me a favor, go to that video, let them know I sent you, hit the like button, do any of that fun stuff. The reason for this is if a channel gets stolen, getting your channel back, your channel has an uphill battle in the algorithm now. And it's worse the longer your channel was taken. For me, it was almost 2 months. For Channel Pup, it was almost about a week. So not that much, but my channel has suffered in the past for not uploading in just a week's time. So if we can do something to help them get positive algorithm engagement while they're trying to reestablish now that everything's been stolen. The other reason is when your channel gets taken, your mental basically gets farked because something that you've spent several years sometimes working on just goes out the window. But they are a pop culture channel. They're doing a lot of stuff about the MCU right now. They also talk about video games and stuff like that. So if that is your bag, if you enjoy stuff like that, then you'll get an idea for what they do by that video that I just linked there. So go let them know that I sent you. Go hit the like button. See if we can get them on that positive algorithm roll to begin with, because channels being stolen sucks. And as a bonus, there's going to be a video linked, or a video made for their channel here in the next few days that is actually going to feature me talking about when my channel was stolen, because a mutual friend of ours, Game Apologist, had him reach out to me when his channel was stolen. So I was able to kind of like go, here's what I had to go through, here's all the shit they asked of me, just have this shit all ready and do it. And it hopefully sped up the process of them getting their channel back. But I'm going to be appearing on their channel to talk about what happened with me, and to show like some of the emails and stuff that went through for any other YouTubers who might potentially get victimized by this same predatory shit that happened to both of us. So if you want to see a video that's not going to be on my channel but will still have me, that will be on there soon too. So go check them out. That is the end of that. The link is also in the description if you guys lose it in the chat somehow. There we go. Dunzo. Did it.
Going through the chat, and someone said Ocean sends us puns and waves.
It's true.
But also, reason why algorithm fuck-ups happen on that thing is that they start uploading shit that has nothing to do with your channel, right?
Yeah, for mine, they tried to make it a gaming channel.
Yeah.
And for his, they turned it into a Bitcoin apologia channel. Like a fucking Bitcoin mining, here's how you get the best Bitcoin. That shit. So, yeah, no.
Also seeing, wait, Columbus was a human. According to historical record,
According to historical record, maybe. Maybe.
Jury's out. But, yeah. Let's see.
There's a message in the chat. Has Trump denounced white supremacy yet? So the issue is, Trump has denounced white supremacy on several occasions. However, it seems when he denounces it, seems to be contingent on the venue and how many eyes are on him. So when there's fewer eyes on him, he's more likely to denounce it. But when there's a lot of eyes on him, he tends to deflect, which is what he did during the debate. And moreover, in the debate, instead of denouncing white supremacy specifically, he said, name a specific organization, and when an organization was named, the Proud Boys, he did not. He's not gone back on the specific statements about the Proud Boys. He can denounce an idea and still be perfectly fine with all the organizations that support that idea de facto, which is basically what he's done.
Yeah, they like me.
The
blah,
fucking
blah, blah, blah.
the fucking QAnon shit. Same thing.
Yeah.
Like, he can denounce conspiracy theory shit, but then immediately go, well, the QAnon people like me, and so it's fine. So, just...
Can I address the super chat?
Yeah, go ahead.
A $10 super chat. It says, off topic. Hey, Ocean, what would you call a person that worships different gods from different ideologies all at once? Like a Grecian worshipping Zeus and Jupiter at the same time. So, that would be I think a Hellenist would be the term there, that worships Zeus. Someone who worships Jupiter typically is considered part of Cultus Deorum Romanorum, which is cult of the Roman gods, or cult of Roman deities. And somebody who does both of these at the same time is syncretic, is the term for it. So they're synchronizing religions. And you can do that with pretty much any two religions. People in history, people combined Christianity and Germanic polytheism and worshiped Thor and Jesus at the same time. There's a few examples of that. Syncretism is pretty common in history.
Also, Sharktenko, it is correct. It is the same thing as having a white supremacist. Not what Ocean is talking about. Just throwing that out there. It's the same thing as you get a
talking about Trump again. Let's move the conversation. Yeah,
talking about Trump. It's like getting a white supremacist who denounces white supremacy, but then they act like a duck, quack like a duck, and do everything else afterwards. It's asking, do you denounce the ideas? Like, I don't have a particular issue with communism, but if you were talking to a communist,
it's a better example. I'm not racist, but
I'm not racist, but I'm not
You're
racist.
against racism, right? But
It's like, I'm not
You know,
racist,
they
but
might
I don't
be
want my
against
daughter
busing
dating a
or
black
something,
man,
you know.
that kind of shit.
Right.
Or you get people who go like, I'm not racist, but I'm an ethno-nationalist. Well, why are you an ethno-nationalist?
Jesus.
Well, I think that you've heard this shit before on Twitter.
No,
I'm sure.
I know I have, but it's still kind of like, whenever I hear it, I'm like, oh God, doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't,
like,
because
just
to be an
Call
ethno-nationalist,
yourself
you
a
have
fucking
to
racist.
assume that there is some benefit to a homogenous society. And if you are assuming there is a benefit to a homogenous society, why does that benefit manifest? Is it because these races operate better together? And then if they operate better together...
Case in point, Roaming Millennial recently on their aptly named... What was she thinking calling her show pseudo-intellectual?
She's thinking she's being very tongue-in-cheek.
Anyway,
it's like the recent legal documents.
Anywho.
It's like the recent legal documents with Tucker Carlson. Have you heard about what
that nobody should take him. No serious person
legally, no one should take him seriously. Like, that is you can now say,
why is he on a primetime slot?
Because he is the most popular person in that slot. Like, he makes Fox News
he
their
makes
money.
But
he makes Fox News their money. But no, like, here's the thing: if you have like a racist uncle or some shit that like just watches Fox News all the time, and they love Tucker Carlson, and they actually take him seriously, you can now say legally you're not supposed to take him seriously.
Right.
That's a statement you can say because fucking recent court.
Really useful thing those lawyers did. Really.
Yeah.
Is just like put out. Oh yeah, we can just do that. Hey, what the...
You okay, Ocean?
It's just the idea of defending your primetime slot television host by throwing his like credibility under the bus.
Yeah, that's the only way they could do it.
Is just, I don't know.
Did you see his comments on Ruth Bader Ginsburg dying?
No, I don't care. I don't pay attention to fucking like. I have a hard time consistently keeping up with commentators who I regularly disagree with.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody said, "Did you hear what person X said recently?" I usually have no idea because So
while we're waiting for Jen, I want to see just your facial reaction to this. After the super chat.
Let's hear this.
First one is super chat, $5 from Pasty Cake. There's a channel called America Uncovered. I think you should give it a look. Has everything you'd want from a person from the right wearing a suit. Oh, okay. That just sounds like a joy. I'm using joy.
I should just throw on a suit.
We should both start a stream
and make a documentary.
We should both start a stream in suits, and just like the whole production value has just like shifted into just it looks like a regular newscast, and just we don't explain anything. We just do a show like that, and just when somebody mentions it, in the comment section, just like, what are you talking about? It's always been like this. But onto the Tucker Carlson thing while we wait for Jen. So
yeah, what'd he say?
So when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, one of the things that was mentioned was that one of her public dying words for the public, were to make sure that her seat was not filled until after the election because it mattered to her that the American people would have a voice in what laws would be there. And now this is a woman who gave decades of her life to the justice system, right? Like, whatever political agreements or disagreements you have with her, the fact is she gave decades of her life to the justice system. Mm-hmm. This was an important thing for her. And she had children. So leaving America in a better place judicially, kind of a thing she'd care about. Tucker Carlson.
There's a lot of discussion that she should have fucking retired like 8 years ago. But
yeah, no, there is. And I agree and understand.
Yeah.
But Tucker, Big Brain Tucker, Galaxy Brain Tucker, says that if your dying words were something about laws in your country, which you shouldn't care about anyway, then that's pathetic. And I'm just like, wait, so you're telling me that a woman who gave decades of her life to the judicial system and is worried that the fascistic president that is over her is going to try to shove someone into her place.
It's like saying that it's kind of pathetic that a priest's dying words were about God or something like that.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like it, or that, you know, like was it her last words? Probably fucking not. It was part of a missive that a prepared document that she did. Is like, I need this to go out. Like, I'm sure that
and
whatever she spent time with her family and all that kind of crap.
And your dying words
like,
are different.
It's the fucking, like, I think that the criticism like that is kind of coming from a place of, well, was she that much of a workaholic or whatever the fuck? Like, I don't know what kind of shaming that is, but this is clearly justice was something that was very important to her as a fucking Supreme Court justice, right? But like, where do you, but then you take this, like, I don't know, like, she spent time with her family and did all that stuff. Like, what's the problem with her making a statement upon her death that has to do with what she devoted her life to? When clearly a statement like that is going to be relevant.
Wait, what? What are
you know,
talking
like,
about?
While
talking
we were
about
waiting for you, we were talking about
Ruth Bader Ginsburg's statement about wanting to, because Tucker Carlson was saying it's
Tucker
dumb to
Carlson.
have your final statement be about law. Or
When
whatever
you're
the fuck.
fighting for abortion rights, you need to put Tucker Carlson's face on a fucking poster. Like, this is fucking why we need to scare them. This is fucking Tucker Carlson.
Is it just because the world would be a better place if he had been aborted?
Just because he's wasting oxygen better used on fucking slugs. He's just being selfish. Okay, that's just that.
Fair enough.
Slugs.
Slugs.
Slugs are more
Slugs.
deserving. Well, a slug I can take seriously because at least a slug can be a pet useful to someone.
Right.
But
I
I'm
don't
legally
question
not
the honesty of slugs anywhere near as much as Tucker Carlson.
But
so.
I'm not.
What?
I'm not legally supposed to care about Tucker Carlson's opinion.
That's fair.
My shit's flipping out. Don't pay attention to me. Talk about what you're talking about.
There we go.
We don't have
Okay.
anything to say.
I'm doing things.
No, we're here to talk about
I'm doing an ocean right now. Just like, yeah, I'm doing shit.
an ocean. There are
I'm
more
doing
than
stuff.
one. I mean,
Yeah.
I heard
There's
there were
several
7,
oceans.
but-
Yeah. Well, that's seas. But yeah. And it's seas according to, like, I don't know. I think that a few of the seas in reference to the 7 seas are like a couple of them are in the Mediterranean or something like that.
So, let's talk about the prohibition.
I've got like an hour before I have to feed the tiny human. So
We've only got like
No.
45 minutes left in the
Okay,
stream.
perfect.
Yeah, we got that works completely. I'm
Perfect.
glad that this
That is-
happened
that
to
is
Miracle
perfect.
work out.
They-
Thank you for
they
coming on
require
at short
sustenance.
notice, BT Dubs.
Yeah, when,
I
when
was
you,
laying in bed and like I'm sitting here out of breath because I'm rushing to try to make the bed and do my hair at the same time. I was like, fucking shit.
I'm sorry. It's my bad.
You
My
didn't
fucking
mention
bad.
it. Cyrus was
No.
like, we should get Jen on.
I was like, yeah, I was like, I'm sending this to Jen. And then it was like, we should get Jen. Okay, well, you know what?
Well,
if
now
she
it's
wants to,
With the shitty hair that I haven't had time to wash
absolutely
today.
invited on.
okay,
if
so
you
my
want to do
hair
the
is
thing.
always shitty, and I've got this really big bald spot. So like all things.
But it
considered-
works for
I'm
you.
wearing,
like,
I don't, my hair is always terrible
I
in
know,
that it's not
I
even
know.
there.
It's
Is the
but-
beanie.
I do keep a beard comb next to me, which I occasionally talk with.
wait. What does your beard comb look like?
It's this little wooden thing, and
Oh, I have
it
this.
also does this. I have something to
This,
fidget
for
with.
this piece
It's
right here.
great for me.
I'm
Actually,
doing
you
that
know
with a
what?
set of headphones right now.
I do that with
Go
the
get-
comb. I do. What the fuck? My kid just crashed
All of
something in the house, and
I've
as long
got
as
my,
I don't smell
uh,
anything burning, it's fine.
Got a fidget spinner
I do this, and then I drop it.
because
and
I'm a
then-
hipster.
Yeah.
I've got a Nerf gun.
Yeah, you are very hipsterish. You got the books and the hat and the button down and the fidget spinner. Like, I'm just waiting for like mason jars with tea lights to line.
Who says I don't already
Actually,
have that?
he
They're
used
just not
to
on
do the
camera.
mason jar thing. He did.
Yeah,
I do the mason
See?
jar thing now, but no,
No.
the ocean used to.
No.
right. I
like-
introduced Cyrus to the concept.
No, I could see you using like fairy lights for like.
I don't think that you're really a hipster until you put a salad in a mason jar, though. And I haven't done that.
Fuck! Nothing happened, honey. Ocean's making fun of mommy.
There you go.
Like,
10 out of 10.
Like, what happened?
Did I
Let's
just
talk
call you
about this
out?
thing. You completely called me out.
Okay, all right,
Like
fair
I
enough.
do like cold oats and shit.
In a mason jar?
Yes, you take. Well, I can't.
What are you doing calling me out? You're doing like
I
the
don't look like
that's-
I rubbed patchouli oil in my facial hair.
You take a picture of it and put it on Instagram?
So
oh my God.
So what I'm hearing, hold on, here's what I'm hearing. Ocean has the aesthetic, but Jen engages in the praxis.
Yeah.
Which
I
makes
think
Jen
that-
the revolutionary and Ocean the tanky.
There you go. Wait.
Ocean's an atheo hipster confirmed.
Atheo hit, not atheo nothing.
Can we
Way
just-
too
Why?
many gods.
I hurt your feelings with that,
That's
didn't I?
I'm offended.
Can we
Your
talk about
feelings.
the
In
fact
fact.
that hipster culture was started by a white supremacist?
What?
Gavin
What?
McGinnis.
Oh my God!
Is
No,
that- is he the
hipster
guy?
culture was
No.
started with Michael Bloomberg gentrifying New York City. That's where hipster culture started. That's where.
No
it
more
started.
straws, only mason jars.
There's a 44 ounce
Now I want
thermos
cold
count?
oats. Like I'm actually gonna go do this.
I've got a thermos.
Anyway,
So, let's talk about the prohibition upon the naturalization of persons opposed to government or law, or who favor totalitarian forms of government.
a light conversation.
So does that mean that anyone who supports Trump means that they can't come in the country? That's what that means, right?
So,
Right.
this law is weird, or this article is weird, because when I read it at first, the first time that this was like thrown to me on Twitter, I thought, oh, this is going to ban people from immigrating here who are aligned with like the Communist Party of China. That would at least make sense with the current administration, them trying to just cut us off from them in any way, shape, or form. And then I read it. China's not mentioned in it. This is about people who are affiliated with United States communist parties. Now, wait a minute. Hold on. Do you know what one thing that United States communist parties tend to be affiliated with a lot? Labor unions.
Labor union.
Wait a minute. Hold on. And what is one of the biggest like influxes of immigration in the United States? The worker visa. that get
H-1 visas.
that get protected by labor unions. And
H-1
it is
visas.
not. It is not whether or not you agree with any of the ideals of these. It is whether or not, the way it's worded in the law, it is, have you been affiliated with a communist or totalitarian organization or ideology or anything in the last 10 years? So if you're on a worker's visa, they can use this against you if your labor union is considered thoroughly communist.
And it's a way to bust out unions too. It's because if they're going to cite labor unions as a form of communism, then anyone who applies for an H-1 visa that comes in on a labor union no longer qualifies. So this is a very creative right-wing way of busting out unions. Because then they're like, well, we can't fuck with the unions because we can't bring people over, so fuck it, disband the union.
Yep, which is not the only anti-union thing they're doing at the moment. Because there was another thing we went over yesterday, which is like this as well.
Someone just said, does this also count with police unions?
No, because a union is necessarily representative of a labor force, and police work is not labor. Police work is labor.
A whole
suppression.
video on this, by the way. I have an entire video on this on police union.
Like, I'm sorry, police work is not labor in the classical sense. It is work for bourgeois, which is against labor. Sorry, no, that's not. Let's not do this.
Work for bourgeois. No, I don't consider
The birds work for the bourgeoisie.
I don't consider sitting in a fucking police cruiser beating off TRX's pictures on Facebook with a fucking speed gun in the other hand work labor. So no, it doesn't apply.
Speed gun.
Yeah.
You know the boopies, the boop
The
thingies?
boopies.
The boopies?
The boop thingies that they people goes boop and it registers the speed of the people driving past.
See, when I heard speed gun, my brain was like, are you
I was
talking
like-
about like injections?
I was
they're
sitting there like, I thought it had something to do with the masturbation.
Speed
but I guess
gun,
it
gotta go
does,
fast.
kind of.
Well, it does.
was-
It makes them feel more powerful that they can pull somebody over. So it does get them off in a sense.
True.
Ocean's confused.
I'm just sitting here
Okay.
processing everything. There's a mental image in my mind, and I don't want it there, but I also have to analyze it.
Payback, motherfucker. Okay. Fuck you, payback. Good,
Apparently.
we're even now.
Oh, god damn it, Jack.
Anyway, let's talk about this fucking law. So, what exactly is it describing? So you get the labor union issue.
The labor
if you're
unions are
labor
not
unions-
mentioned in the law. This is
Right.
the law just has a bunch of things it considers communist, which just also so happen to.
To describe labor unions.
Right.
So
Great.
Yeah.
Jack and Quill, can you
And
go
yes,
Ocean Captains?
Brutus, I do
Go
have an
image
ex
now.
that's a cop. I have 2 exes that are cops, actually.
why?
Because I knew they were scumbags, but it was that, okay, you're gonna be a scumbag, I'm gonna be a bitch, so I'm just gonna get my rocks off and then fucking ACAB. So that's what that was. It was a really fucked up.
Also, everyone.
So I want to steer this to the topic.
according to Jack and Quill,
So,
this is not
I'm
a
gonna-
drill.
Let's wait. What? Need more deets. No, oh my god.
According to Jack and Quill, this is not a drill.
This is not a drill.
I will one day do a whole live stream on just my dating life. Then anyone can come in and ask me
That's-
questions.
So, all right, let's talk a little bit about this fucking law. Is there any likelihood that this is going to actually be a thing? Is it as in pass anything?
As in, it's already passed, I believe.
It's already passed. Oh shit.
the House? Past the House
Let's see.
Google that.
or the Senate? Like, what's going on? Where's it
I think
at?
it's the Senate.
Let's see.
Because I think it would be harder to pass the House than the Senate with something like this.
House.gov. There's a website where you can check the state of any bill. Let's take a look.
There we go.
You guys are way quicker on the draw than I am. I'm like, fuck, I gotta do a thing. Shit.
Yeah, no,
Cyrus
this
will
is
just look
already
something
in-
up right there.
This is already in U.S. law.
It's already it's
There's-
already done.
There's already lawyer websites that are built on like trying to analyze how they're going to fight for their clients right now.
Oh,
This is already a thing.
It's the thing.
hold on a second.
What is Calcifer doing?
No, it's the liquid cooler on my computer is like really loud.
I was like, what did Calcifer do?
I was like, what is going on? Oh, okay, it's just being loud. All right, that's
I
weird.
thought it was a Calcifer moment.
So the specific wording of this says,
yeah, like tell me like what they're doing in order to defend their clients from this crap. Like how is this breaking down?
let me see here.
Oh, I can imagine that at least some of the cases will hinge on they had to adopt the government in order to save their lives, especially with asylum cases.
Yeah,
I can see
so
that.
let me go to NOLO and see what they're doing here. According to obtain U.S. citizenship, applicants must provide adherence to the United States Constitution and commitment to orderly change. If you have been a member or advocate for the Communist Party or any other totalitarian party, you may have trouble obtaining United States citizenship. The application from that green card holders must fill out in order to apply for United States citizenship. Form N-400 asks various questions about group and party memberships. First, it asks an open-ended question about whether you've been a member of any organization or association or any other club or type of group. Whether you've been a member or in any way associated with a communist party or any other totalitarian party, or ever advocated either directly or indirectly to overthrow any government by force or violence. Saying yes.
This is a prohibition on speech.
This
Yes.
is McCarthyism.
That's exactly
Actually,
what that
this is McCarthyism.
We gotta fight the commies.
It's
Saying-
McCarthyism.
I actually had to do a project on McCarthy when I was a kid, and when I did that project, it was the first time I've ever heard the word bigot, because my grandpa, who from my memory was a Republican, when I asked him about Joe McCarthy, because I was specifically told, hey, ask your grandparents about this if you need info, because they were probably around when this guy was dicking around. So I asked my grandpa, I'm like, Grandpa, do you know anything about Joe McCarthy? And he's like, yeah, he was a bigot and an idiot. What?
Mhm.
I'm just like, oh, I have never heard you use those words before. Oh, neat. Let's see here. Exceptions to the naturalization bar. If you ceased your membership or involvement 10 or more years before applying for citizenship.
What?
That's an exception. If you ceased your membership or involvement 10 or more years before applying for citizenship. So let's say that you are a Canadian and you are part of Canada's Communist Party.
I don't know about this.
If you are a Canadian and you are part of Canada's Communist Party, and you try to, like, say you start dating somebody in the United States, so you try to move to the United States to live with your soon-to-be spouse. Your involvement in the last 10 years bars you from coming to the U.S.
Or even, okay, say you live in Russia, or you live in China, or you live in North Korea.
I'm going to say China's a death knell here.
Oh, yeah. So fuck China. We've wiped China. Say North Korea, Russia.
And yes, Lettuce, I understand. China's not communist. It is state capitalist. They have a mixed economy. We understand that. However, this is about party affiliation, not about functional economics.
And I know North Korea technically isn't communist, but all intents and purposes, come on. So you get an opportunity to apply for asylum. You fear for your life. You fear for the safety of your family. The United States can now deny that asylum because you openly, to save your life, said that I support this government and this regime. This now wipes any kind of survivor's instinct off the table. If you had attempted to survive in a government that our country now deems communist, bordering, I'm waiting for the socialist wording to come in, and you try to apply for asylum or you try to come to the US to save your family and live a better life, you're now denied. That's it.
Is it something that they're saying is like universally prohibitive, or is it something they're saying it'll come into consideration?
No, prohibitive.
No, it's prohibitive.
Prohibitive.
Completely prohibitive.
There's so
no more Cubans.
How past applicants were treated when trying for proof they fit the exception. U.S. court decisions contain important examples of naturalization applicants who successfully prove they fall into an exception to bar. Okay, so we need to look at the exceptions to see, because the exceptions will tell us how tight this is. So the exceptions to the naturalization bar are ceased membership or involvement in the last 10 years before applying to citizenship. So you can't apply for your citizenship and then cease your involvement. When you cease your involvement, that is when the timer starts.
Yep, and it has to be a solid 10 years, solid decade.
Did not know or had reason to believe at the time of becoming involved in that organization that the organization was a communist front organization, in which case, as a practical matter, applicants will likely need to show that their level of involvement was fairly minimal.
What defines fairly minimal?
Yeah, that sounds really loosey-goosey. Established that their membership or affiliation was involuntary, so there is at least one exception. So if you're a part of, like, a dictatorship and you are forced to be part of a political party because they're a one-party nation, that's an exemption. That's a thing that you can argue for. Show that the membership or affiliation ended before they turned 16, so it only counts when you are a legal adult. That's when your timer starts.
Okay.
Establish that such membership or affiliation was legally required. This is the same as the earlier one.
The one party.
This is where you
rule,
can have a discussion about China.
Yeah, this is the involuntary part, legally required to be part of the one party. Prove that their membership or affiliation was necessary to obtain employment, food, rations, or other essentials for living. So there's the survivors part.
But it's not the survivors part.
It's part of it. It's
part of it, but not wholly, right?
And then the last exception is if they are otherwise eligible for naturalization and barred solely because of past membership or affiliation and are found by the U.S. government to have contributed to its national security or national intelligence mission. Okay, so basically if they can prove that your loyalty is here via whatever hazing process they're going to use for that, that can be a consideration to... That's like a fucking... that's like the Black Widow thing.
Yes.
The whole, you've got red in your ledger, but if you could prove your loyalty to the nation, you can be here.
And then it becomes, well, what do you have to do to prove your loyalty to the nation? Do you have to...
You have to contribute in a national security sense or a national intelligence sense.
So you have to become a spy.
Or a snitch. You could be
or
a snitch.
Right.
Because that would be a national intelligence
So your basic everyday
thing.
Joe, this doesn't apply to.
Yeah. Oh, you can't... Okay?
I'm processing. Because, like, it just seems like... It seems like this goes against the First Amendment, the spirit of the First Amendment.
It does go
against
it does, because it means not only is it against, we already mentioned the points about labor unions, the affiliation to labor unions.
Like if you,
and shit.
there, I think that there's a point to discuss national security, right?
Mhm.
You can have that discussion there, but there's a difference between, like, it seems like the national security thing should have like a smell test sort of approach rather than trying to codify it in such a way that is so absolute as this.
Yeah.
But you have to
Um,
prove it in the national security sense. That's the big thing. You have to
Yeah,
somehow
and-
prove this
Right.
by service. It distinctly says by service. So you either have to be a mole, a rat, or snitch, a spy. You have to do something.
Okay, you need
that
to
pu-
like serve in the military for 4 years or something.
No,
like
you
that?
need to show your loyalty by fucking over the communist government. You need to show that you're willing to sell them the fuck out in order to come here. So you have to
Basically, you're
directly
alien-
put
you
your
have to
you have
put-
to put your life in line.
And if you've got family over there, you have to put their lives on the line too.
hmm
Yeah,
in
this
order to do
doesn't
that.
this doesn't seem like it's a. It seems like it's needlessly authoritarian.
Yes, you have described the United States in the last 20
Yes,
years.
actually, the
You've caught up.
United States would qualify as a country you cannot immigrate from within to the United States.
By creating
Such is
these
the word.
immigration
with-
laws, the United States is becoming slowly more totalitarian, putting themselves in the bracket, the category that you can't immigrate from.
But then it comes down to whose definition of totalitarian are we working under?
Right,
and
I'm saying is like, or other authoritarian regime is like, well, I was an American for 30 years.
also,
I-
legalize-
Well, I
don't
lived in
know
the
if-
South for 15 years.
So there's another thing on Nolo here that it mentions,
That's a police state. So.
and it says that the law does not use the word anarchist, but lawyers do consider this anarchism to be among the types of prohibited groups referred to by this section of the law.
because it's anarchism is about overthrowing government. as you were saying.
Right, but they're
Even-
also
Fuck off, you state.
this this administration likes blending anarchism with communism and socialism. They like blending them all into one same group.
Speaking of anarchy,
Oh my god! Shut
why does
the
that,
face.
why does that sound
okay?
like Anthony?
Shut the face. Okay, shut the whole
y'all,
face.
I'm gonna quote him just because.
Oh my god!
I'm gonna do
Why
it.
are we doing this?
I'm
again?
gonna do it because this was the weirdest thing.
Because I'm not angry enough. This is why you're doing it. Because
Fucking
I'm not
Anthony
angry enough today.
Magnabosco posted recently, and I sent this to Jen and Cyrus. I was like, "What's happening here?" Is Anthony Magnabosco, the SC guy, posts, "I worry that anarchists could tip this election so damn easily." And
In
Jen
what
and I,
way?
yeah, in what Jen
That's
says, in
what
what
I
way?
asked.
What's going on? And I just ask, what do you mean? Like, because I want more information. Like, I feel like that is so vague that it could mean anything. Like, okay, I worry that anarchists could tip this election so damn easily. That could mean, given how the word anarchist is used and given how tipping the election is used, is like, is he saying that BLM activists in protesting and in cases in which property damage has taken place could slip the election in favor of Trump? That's one of many ways of interpreting that statement.
Or he could interpret that to say that the Proud Boys are going to come out and vote and push it towards Trump.
Or he could be saying he's worried that people that are that anarchists voting for Biden might tip it away from Trump.
Yeah.
Like
There was so many possibilities on this.
Right. You could look at this and say, okay, is he concern trolling as a Trump supporter? Or is, like, I don't know where Anthony doesn't talk about his politics very much.
No.
So when this was posted, I was just like,
And then not knowing what side of the coin he falls on, you don't know who he's directing this at.
yeah, I don't know. Because
So it can
he
go anyway.
seems kind of like, I think I think I said this to you, Jen, where he seems like a 2005 conservative.
Possibly. I've never gotten into
You know?
Anthony's politics with him. I've never really
Right.
paid attention to his politics, so I can't make that call.
Like
But-
somebody who in 2005 would say, well, I'm socially liberal but fiscally
Yes.
conservative.
Yes.
That's what he
Who
seems
I was
like.
Same
in
thing
2005.
that I
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
That's who I was in 2000. Well, no,
That's who I was
probably
in
like
2000.
probably like 2000.
Like 5
Yeah.
to 10 or so. Like that's
I was
where
like
I was sitting.
2000 to 2004.
It's like, yeah, gay
was
marriage
my-
is cool, but I'm voting Romney. That's where
No,
I was.
I was never that far. Jesus Christ.
So
what the
that's where
fuck?
I was. So
I'm so
And I
glad
think
I didn't
2012.
I
do
was
that.
straight up a Bush
so-
supporter during, and I took an elections class.
I'm so glad I wasn't friends with you guys then, because we wouldn't be
Probably
now.
a good idea. Yeah.
Like, we wouldn't
Yeah.
be now.
I got into some fights with people at that point in time. I'm sure that some of the people that I got in fights with at that point in time probably still think I'm a conservative, but I wound up flipping during the as soon as Trump got nominated, I lost full faith in the Republican Party, and I was just like, nope, can't
But then
support that.
you
I'm
went
done.
way
That's my
to
boundary.
the other side. Like,
Yeah,
you
I
didn't
went.
even,
I went
you
full
didn't even
Bernie
go
because I thought that he
centrist.
was. No, I jumped across over to Bernie because I was like, this is the only person who's going to be able to stop this person is somebody who has an excited base to push, a movement to fight this other populist movement, right? I was like, this is preferable to what Trump was. So, as a conservative, I wound up going, yeah, and over the course of that, I wound up supporting universal healthcare. I don't think that Anthony ever went through that journey. It doesn't seem like he did. He's not very political.
If I had
So-
to take a guess, I would say solid centrist, probably.
Right. But
Yeah.
then he makes this post. I'm
Yeah.
concerned
Yeah.
about the anarchists.
I mean,
and I'm
to-
like, I don't know what that means coming from you.
So
and
I'm
I wanted
curious.
legit clarification, but he did wind up responding to somebody and clarifying, saying, I meant to mean organized troublemakers,
No, let's
which
go
doesn't
back to what he-
clarify anything that.
Yeah, that
let's
doesn't
go back
clarify
to what
anything.
he. Let's go back to what he said to me. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
I know. What did he say to you, Jen?
He's. Oh fuck! Now you're gonna make me pull up the fucking.
Like, you brought it up.
I didn't
can
bring
read
it
it
up.
to
You.
Hey,
I told
you
you to
said-
shut the face on the tweet.
You said in what way? And then Anthony
I didn't
said,
bring
I
this
don't.
shit up.
And Anthony said, I don't want to pass along ideas.
To who?
And then, I don't know, you responded,
Okay. Okay.
so
okay.
you'll vague
I'm getting
book
it.
on this, but you won't explain why you have these inclinations. Many people in the community are anarchists, and I'm sure they would be more than interested in hear your take on the thought process of voting, which I think is a legitimate fucking response.
And then he did not answer me.
Right. And so
Would
I posted,
not fucking answer me.
I posted the emergency meeting from Among Us and said Anthony is being sus.
Which then led to everyone thinking there was an emergency meeting on Discord.
Right. Yeah. And then people started
Also-
talking about where was it? I'm in the cafeteria. I said I was being trash.
So I need to point a couple
yeah.
things out. Kirix has mentioned in the chat that the reason that this law has not been challenged or anything like recently is because apparently this law that we're mentioning here has existed in some form or another in the United States since 1952.
This,
Well,
this
yeah.
has- yeah. This
Yeah.
But
has-
it's
this is
just been
McCarthyism.
like amended slightly over
Right.
time and not actually ever challenged.
Right.
So this looks like one of those things that it's just kind of whittled into something more and more precise as you go. So you can get it close. This is incrementalism working, but not in the way you think.
It's been bounced back and forth in the courts when it's come down to immigration cases, and then slowly by slowly they started to chip away at the communism thing and the totalitarian thing, and they started to lax the immigration precedences since 1952. However, now they're starting to reinstate some more of the McCarthy era qualifications on it.
Yeah, it needs to be challenged. It hasn't yet, and if Amy Coney Barrett does get full
But
powers,
Here's the
I don't
difference
see it
between
getting challenged.
1952 and now is social media. So, and you go through a full vetting process when you're coming to immigrate. So if they vet your social media, right, and you as much as reference that you're in favor of universal health care, you're in favor of universal basic income, wealth distribution, redistribution, they can label this as a communist ideal and deny your visa, deny your asylum, deny anything, deny your green card based on these social media postings supporting basic things as socializing roads and paying more taxes to cover for free college or free preschool.
This is like, so everybody here knows who Pete Seeger is, right?
Yes.
Hopefully. Ocean?
Who, what is?
Ocean
Pete-
was typing. and
Pete
couldn't-
Seeger. Do you know who Pete
Pete
Seeger
Seeger.
is?
I don't actually.
So he is a American folk singer. However, he was known mainly for singing songs that are popularly considered communist songs. So, Which Side Are You On is one. What's another one that he was known for singing? Not necessarily writing, but singing.
I'm gonna Google.
I'm trying to remember.
I
There's
can't.
another like major one that he's known for, and my brain is blanking. It's not Which Side Are You On? It is Solidarity Forever. That one.
Yes.
And during the McCarthy era, Pete Seeger got assaulted several times by the United States police force. They would come in and raid places that he was playing.
There's a name for the list that they were on, and I can't remember what the name of it is now.
I don't remember what it is either. I know that there was like a Hollywood blacklist.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
But when he would get raided, they would go, "Are you affiliated with the Communist Party?" "No, sir. I have no idea what you're talking about." And he would just, at that time, he could just deny it. Just say, "No, I'm not. What are you talking about? I'm a red-blooded American." But like Jen said, the age of social media is a little different. You can't just do what Pete Seeger did now, where he was prolific, he was well known, but he was able to deny allegations because plausible deniability was a thing. That doesn't exist as well in the age of social media. It really doesn't.
Right.
So, and even saying something is, I think the United States should expand its SNAP program, which is the food welfare program. You can link that to communism because it's state-funded food, which happened in the USSR. Like they can literally pin any kind of socialist thought to a communist movement. Or if you turn around and say,
isn't the military socialist though? Like
completely.
Yes.
Okay.
It is full-on tax-funded labor.
I
Like
feel
the
so
literal
confused
grocery store is funded by tax dollars.
Like I'm so damn confused about how
The schools
when we
even.
apply certain ideas, like the application of socialism bad because of these reasons, and then we employ those same practices in other areas of our society because they work.
But what they're now starting to slowly do,
I don't know. It's so strange to me. It's like what?
But they're
where,
turning away
just
from that. What they're
makes you a
doing now
socialist?
is they're starting to turn over certain offices, certain areas of the military over to private companies. Housing is sourced
Blackwater.
Housing is sourced out to a private
housing.
company. Yeah. Military housing is now contracted by a company called Lend-Lease, which is located in Australia.
Yep.
And
So we're gonna see. Oh man.
it's actually better run since they've turned it over to Lend-Lease
Oh well,
than it was when the military
good.
handed trust. I lived in it. I lived under Lend-Lease. A lot of the financing, a lot of the DFAS financing.
Is it
has
overall
private
less
contractors.
expensive or more expensive?
It's weird. So it's not, now they're doing it on a market rate, but the way that they used to do it is every rank, you get a housing allowance for every rank you have with or
Right,
without
and
dependents.
that just goes to Lend-Lease or what?
Yes. So you get this
Okay.
housing allowance, and if you have military housing, they take out an allotment, so they just pull it out before you even see it, which is why a lot of people, and they say it's market rate for the houses, and it was structured by rank. So the higher you went, the better house you got. But now they're doing market rent prices. And if you don't have the BAH to cover your market rent, you now have to pay Lend-Lease out of pocket for it.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
cool.
It's not cool, but they would do it on a rank structure, and they would just take the money.
So we're abusing our soldiers with capitalism now.
Oh, we've been abused. AFES.
I mean, of course, but
AFES it's not privately funded, but it's hugely capitalist.
right.
The commissary is hugely capitalist. Now that they have been using private contract companies for defense finance for years. A large part of DFAS is not done by GS workers; they're done by private contractors. The mail order pharmacy, the mail-in pharmacy is done by a private contracting company. And what they can do is when they decide to cut the budget, they just say, "Oh, we're not renewing our contracts," and everybody's fired. Everyone who's a private contractor is fired because we just don't have it in the budget to renew the contract. Bye.
Well, shit.
Yep.
Mhm.
Isn't America great? America the beautiful?
And now with the and
You guys hear my neighbors riding lawnmower?
No, we don't actually.
No, we
Oh,
don't
great.
actually.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay.
Saris, Aaliyah Kai, and I were talking about this last night with the EO training. This now comes down to what happens to these companies with military contracts that are located, the companies are located in other countries that have to have EO training, but then violate the EO training set by the US. Then what happens?
This is about the sensitivity, the racial sensitivity training.
Yeah. Sorry,
anti-sexism training, stuff like that.
So and
to
now
what y'all
apparently you
talked
can't be
about
a communist either, so
yeah,
or socialist.
Socialist. The socialist.
I believe it's pronounced socialist.
Socialist.
Yeah.
Socrates?
Yes. That's the correct pronunciation.
Socratic epistemologic method.
Oh, you mean what SA tries to be?
Sure. Weaponized Socratic method, yes.
Sure.
Socratic method with leading questions.
Socratic method, and I'm trying to sell you a used car.
Someone just put
It's called
coronavirus
atheism.
in all caps in the chat, and I'm confused.
What about coronavirus?
I don't know.
It's still a thing. Oh,
Capital letters.
I don't know if you guys have heard about the trials for the vaccine. Have been stopped.
Why?
Johnson & Johnson halted theirs due to unknown illness. And now a lot of other companies are now pulling the trials because of unknown illness. And they're wondering if it's part of the vaccine.
Uh-oh.
Huh.
So there might be a start from scratch kind of thing that might have to have.
But it makes sense.
Which will put everything on delay, you know.
Which will put everything on delay. But what
Yeah.
the Trump administration was arguing was that the SARS vaccine came out in 18 months, so there's no reason that we shouldn't have a COVID-19 vaccine. However, the SARS vaccine was H1N1. We already had a base vaccine for this. It was just a mutation from
H1N1 was the swine flu.
Yes. Yes,
I don't think there ever was a SARS
swine
vaccine.
flu. Sorry, no, it was
okay.
thank
there
you.
is a
Thank
there
you.
is a
It's swine
super
flu.
chat that was missed. I need to get to that real quick.
Yeah,
Brutus
go for
Maxon
it.
just brought it up to me. For $4.99, Brutus Magnum says, shouldn't Trump be part of the Q conspiracy? He hung out with the Clintons and Epstein, the same, and he brags about it all the time. So,
He probably has like a secret 4chan for it.
From the reading that I've done on Q and from the research that I've done, because Dan sent me a bunch.
We need
of
to
shit.
have. I think that we need to reach out to Dan about the about having that QAnon hammered out episode.
But from what I've read about Q, their apologia for this is that yes, Trump had been affiliated with them in some way, but that's because he was planting himself there so that he could get more information to depose them later.
I told you he probably has a secret 4chan account for it. Told you.
So, like, literally, the goalpost shift, the thing with QAnon is the goalpost shift is used a lot. So, yes, you're right. Technically, he should be considered one of the people in the pedophile.
But he's the rebel, and him being involved in all this stuff is how he knows where all the bodies are buried.
He's the
and
plant.
Also
He's the plant. Like he's adopting
the 4D chest plant.
He's adopting this as being the former communist.
Whenever people start talking about Trump being 4D chess,
loyalty.
and then I see him at a press conference, I'm just like, there's no way that this 4D chess thing makes any relevancy at all.
Doesn't understand
like
fucking 2D
all the
chess.
interviews of people that are inside the White House and know him just describe incompetence over and over and over again. Secret, like people that are like
from the
leaking
White House,
out and all
this
that
was
stuff.
known in New York. Like contractors did not want to work with him because he would. The big thing was any historic building he had, you have hardcore codes with historic buildings that you have to follow to preserve just the nature and the history of the building. He would try to pay contractors off to like not follow these like federal guidelines on remodeling historic buildings and putting whatever opulent piece of shit that he wanted in it.
Oh, so
nobody wanted to work with him.
What do they call that? It's not restoration, but
it's a fancy name for it.
There's a car term for it. I think it's resto-modding.
Something. But there's only like a handful of people that could do it per state for historical buildings. And he would try to pay off like regular contractors and be like, I'll pay you anything you want to come do this for me. And they're like, we legally fucking can't. And he didn't understand the concept of like losing licenses. When it came to construction work, he didn't understand the concept of rent laws. He's like, what do you mean I can't turn their heat off? Why not? I'm their landlord. Like he wasn't being sadistic about it. He just did not get the point around
Seems
it.
like what? They're not paying their, yeah. He's
I'm
just
paying them
callous.
money. Why aren't they doing the thing? I
Yeah,
don't
like
understand.
he just can't physically wrap his mind around complex structures. So I can't see how he would be any fucking worth to any organization. Like I just
playing
can't.
this 40 chess kind of bullshit.
Yeah,
It's just-
no, like
yeah, it doesn't make sense.
if you told him to get a peach crayon, he grabs orange because in his mind, like if you're like, hey, draw a person, draw yourself, here's peach, he would grab orange because he can't think past the point that this is supposed to be his natural skin tone. Like this is the thought process for him.
I'm still not convinced that that's his natural skin tone.
It's not. It's
No,
bad
it's not.
foundation. It's just really bad
Isn't it
foundation.
supposed to be like a spray tan? Anyway,
No, it's bad foundation because I did it for years and nobody fucking told me about it until I figured it out my own. It's bad. It's badly matched foundation and powder. That's all it is.
Is
But
that
he
why
has
he's
professional makeup artists
got? Is that
doing
why
his-
he's
But-
got completely different color around his
Yeah,
eyes?
that's like
Like,
the way
he-
I noticed
this
it
is the
was my
thing.
hairline was white.
The-
And I was like,
the-
what the fuck?
the fucking okay. I don't want to get on too much of a tangent with respect to what Donald Trump looks like, but the thing that confuses me about how he looks is that he goes on to The Apprentice, does several seasons of a TV show where there are producers, there are makeup artists standing by, and if what he's doing is a makeup error, it seems bewildering to me that one of those makeup artists wouldn't have said to him at some point, hey, this doesn't match your skin tone.
You don't pay a makeup artist to get them to look how you should look. You pay a makeup artist to make them look how you want to look.
In film, that's exactly what you pay a fucking makeup artist to do. But I guess it changes the rules because he's a fucking billionaire.
But yeah, because
Like,
he's a billionaire.
I
yeah.
can imagine that that's what's going on. Is that he's like whatever makeup artist had the fucking tenacity to come in and say that to Trump probably got fired.
Well, yeah, that's the thing.
like-
He won't hire from unions, so that he can just fire people
Wait.
at will.
On film, no, there is no way that he had a non-union makeup artist on The Apprentice.
He probably has his own that he insisted on using.
You might be right. That would be really interesting to know about, is whether or not he had a union makeup artist on The Apprentice.
He
That's
probably
just a
used his
weird
own.
factoid. I don't know if there's any way to get access to that factoid.
How the fuck
but
did we get here?
Just I don't. But
Our best.
yeah,
We did our
I
best.
would. This is me going into film world and being
He-
like,
he-
wait a minute, it doesn't work that way.
He probably insisted that in order to do the show, he has to use his own makeup artist.
That's
and he
probably-
probably has a
yeah.
lot of a huge team that he insisted on using his own to skirt union laws and not use.
Well, I
union
mean, that
laws.
would be a production question because if you're hiring non-union on a union production, which it would surprise me if the
If in New York,
The
yeah, that would be
Apprentice,
surprising.
a film project shot in New York,
yeah,
not being union,
that's Union Town.
would be that no, that's not
He's
happening.
very good at loopholing regulations. That's
Okay.
one smart area. Like, you know how like everybody's good at one thing and can be a complete fucking idiot at everywhere else? His is loopholing rules. He's really good at fucking loopholing regulations.
Okay, let's move on from this and bring Suris back into
I
the
broke
conversation.
Ocean. Oh my God,
I was
I
just
broke
sitting here
Ocean.
like I don't know any facts on this. It's just like I know a lot of makeup artists that are union and non-union, and the idea of a non-union makeup artist being brought on by Trump in contract would be hella expensive, probably illegal, would be breaking union rules.
Have
Like,
you
there-
looked at the White House in the last 4
and
years?
then in New York on top of that. Like it just doesn't make sense to me.
Look at the White House the last 4 years. Do you think he really has fucking respected shit that he can't throw money at?
But I don't know.
Come on.
It probably, if it's, and I don't know, it could be that he's found a union makeup artist that he likes, but I don't know. Like I
mean, he's literally getting ready
Who
to tell
knows?
people you can't come
It's
into
just-
the country because you advocated for universal fucking health care.
it's
Like,
just bewildering to me that somebody would. We spent way too much time on this, but it's bewildering to me that somebody wouldn't have said
You say
something
we've
to him.
spent way too much time on this. I think we've spent an adequate amount of time.
Just discussing the nuances because it does get into union busting
and
with
he
respect
was
to
known
whether or
for-
not he has a competent makeup artist on set.
he was known for using like scabs that would cross picket lines for his construction to construct his building.
And it makes sense that he'd probably use that
Mm-hmm.
for stuff, but on film it's harder is what I'm saying, is that he would have to convince the producer who would also
Who's probably working for him.
well, yeah, sure. And I think he was an EP on Apprentice, I imagine.
Mhm.
Like that just makes sense.
But
He
he
was an EP.
also did full scale production advertisements. He had to do ads and videos for his Trump University. So he probably already had these people already on hand.
Like
and just send them
this
to
is
different
all
people.
speaking in complete ignorance.
Yeah,
None of us know
we're-
anything about the actual structure of
Yeah,
the
we're
Apprentice, but,
speaking in hypotheticals. But
like I don't even know if he was an EP. He probably was. It makes sense to me that he was, but
remember that he already had productions already going out. So he probably already has a crew that works solely for him anyway.
I worked in television an average of 1 day a decade, and I've been a SAG member each time. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, because if you're on a SAG production,
You have you have to
be.
you have to have your SAG card.
So,
This is what happens when you get
and that's the
too
thing.
many
That's the reason why I'd be so surprised about a scab makeup artist. But you can be union and just roll your eyes and do
and
what
just
Trump
get the
tells
fucking
you.
job done.
Right.
Yeah.
But it just surprises me that somebody wouldn't have said. Here's what I imagine is that he has a union makeup artist, but it's somebody who's rolling his or her eyes and putting up with it,
And just going home at
and
the end of the day.
yeah, here you go. Here's your fucking orange look. All right, I'm fucking off. Because I've also learned in makeup artist world, if you tell them to do something bad, they'll do it.
They'll do it. Yeah.
They'll just be annoyed with it, and they won't put it in their lookbook. You
Yeah.
know?
You tell the makeup artist how you want to look, not what they think.
Right.
Is best.
It's like they're here to perform the job and all that stuff. You can consult with the head makeup artist, but it's
I mean, I lived through the
I don't know.
80s. I mean,
anyway.
come on.
It's just
I lived through the
there's all
fucking
kinds
80s.
of
All right.
strange. And oh my god, I've heard some stories on film sets in the 80s, but
This is what happens when you
moving
get two
on.
people in entertainment together.
for the eighth time, we've spent way too much time on this. But it is weird to me that it wasn't. If it was, there's no way he hasn't been told. Is what I'm saying. There's no way he
I'm
hasn't.
sure
been
he
told.
has been. He probably fired him for it.
Right, and I'm saying that's probably what happened. Is that somebody was insistent on it and then fired him, or that they were fired.
I don't surprise him. Cyrus is playing Pokemon.
Do we
or
want to
some
talk
shit.
about anything else, or are we just idiots?
I-
right now?
I've just been enjoying the conversation from the last bit.
Wait, Ocean actually got to do it to you this time.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. I was surprised that Cyrus didn't jump up,
Gotta
fuck off,
believe.
come back with like a meal, and go, "Is everything? Are we still okay? We're still doing this."
Like, no, I've just been enjoying the conversation. It's been good. I'm fine.
Aw.
This is
Well, me and Jen can bounce off
All fucking
forever
day
if
long.
you fucking let us.
If
fat.
you, like, we would probably be good for a 24-hour stream. Because we
True.
would
well,
just...
I'm gonna be hosting one of those soon, so
So if you want to just take a break and have me and Jen yell at each other,
It would be nice to actually look at each other and yell at each other instead of just doing it over Discord.
yeah, that's fair. And
That
so
would be
we got a super chat
sprucing it up.
that I think is it's
it's
relevant.
appropriate.
It's appropriate.
I would legit rather be homeless squatting in a turd pile igloo. I didn't.
That
read
is
part.
a image.
Turd pile igloo. Then work for Trump.
So
okay,
I've actually worked for music production aspects that, although weren't completely directly hired by Trump, they were done under one of his umbrella companies. Holy fuck. There is no room to breathe. You do what the fuck you do. You're here. They're paying you. You're here for them. And you don't get to sit. You don't get to breathe. Labor laws were just not a fucking thing. They were like, no. Or like he would... In New York, you had to do 2 15-minute breaks and a 30-minute break if you worked 8 hours. They would schedule you for like 7 hours and 45 minutes and be like, you don't qualify for the break. Bye.
Yeah, exactly.
Out.
No,
And
that
if-
I've seen
Oh,
that
that's what
shit.
happened. That's what happened
I've
every
seen
time
that
that I
shit.
was working for a retail company.
Mhm.
It's like the union producers, especially music,
Oh, yeah.
will avoid the living fuck out of they will obey the letter of the law and not the spirit of the law every single fucking time.
Mhm.
And it's
If
abusive.
you wanted water, you had to
I've
buy
been on
it
several
from a kiosk.
shows where it was 16-hour days.
Yeah.
And they just sometimes they would suck it up and pay the overtime. If it was a union production.
Oh no, overtime was not allowed. Like
right,
they would
but
call
I'm
the
talking
cops
about
on people.
Film
Yeah.
the world. It's a different world.
Oh yeah.
Ocean
Where
no, like,
you can do a 23-hour day,
Sure.
but you're going to pay for it.
Yeah, you're gonna pay for it, but fuck the well-being of people. No.
There was a friend of
Wait.
mine that was telling me that she walked away from a film set one time with a $5,000 check for one day because it was a 48-hour day.
Yeah.
Because they had to. There was the actor was leaving on a plane, and the crew was useless, but they had to get it done. So they wound up getting everything done, but they did a 48-hour straight, and it was incredibly dangerous, and safety went out the fucking window, but the production had the money for it.
Yeah, so you just fucking did it. But
Right.
I remember like it was one of his music production companies that he was dabbling into at the time. And if you asked for water, they pointed you to like a stand that you had to buy the water from their company during the workday.
Yeah, no, that's no.
All right, so I got a story about that, just because like since we're if you
I've
wanna talk
only
about
been on a
unions and
set
stuff-
once, and I know that's not how you fucking do it.
Right. No. So I was on a set, and Suris has been on set with me before. And like damn well, on my set, water is on set.
Yes,
Happens.
I
right?
have retrieved it. I know.
Yeah. Right. So
Oh,
you
made Cirrus the errand child?
Suris PA'd for me on a set one time. So I'm on a set first ADing with my friend who's a DP. And he's director of photography. I'm the first assistant director. The first assistant director's job is to run the set and make sure everything is safe and all the other kind of crap. But I was dealing with somebody who was directing this project that was bad. Like repeated concerns where I had to have like strong conversations with this individual. And then but we were in this box of a location where it was getting really hot. Everybody was sweating, and the producer, I'm not going to go. All right, the guy who was supposed to be in charge of making sure that water was on set because he's responsible for that kind of thing was cheap as fuck. And his view was, well, if we ran out of water, well, that's because the budget. We ran out of, and my perspective is, well, if you're running a set overtime and doing 16-hour days, you better get the water for your fucking crew.
Yeah.
And we got to a point where the I'm on set doing the
Ocean,
thing.
you okay?
You just got
What?
super loud.
Yeah, you're like
Whoa.
booming now.
Like, whoa.
That's weird. That's
Yeah,
not. It's not because of anything I did.
there
Okay,
you
now you're
go.
back to
Now it's
normal.
fine.
Oh, that's weird.
That's fine.
Weird. Is Skype
Okay.
running in the background?
I've deleted it. I've gone to war on Skype. Anyway, so fucking all right, so I'm first AD, I'm on set, and the DP is next to me, and the PA comes up, and the DP says, hey, I want to grab me a water. And the guy, the DP, the PA goes to Crafty, which is where water is, and then comes back and says to the DP, there's no water. And the DP says, no, there's water. Get me a fucking water. At which point, then I had to have this conversation with the producer where he was just like, no, we're not going to have water anymore.
Like none.
Like, we're not doing
It's
that.
not allowed.
We've already spent enough money on water. I'm like, you have people here you're getting water.
You're getting water.
You're
right?
sending a PA to get water immediately, or I'm shutting down this set. Like, straight up.
Water's
And
not that fucking expensive.
It's not.
It's not.
It gets expensive when you're buying several flats of it a day, but that's beside the point.
Amazon
You're doing
sells
a
the pallets
project.
for cheap.
You're doing a project. You're going to hydrate your fucking crew, especially when you're in the summer,
Right.
telling them to do things like sit in an
Wait, was
area
this
where
on-
there's
was
no
this
air
in the
conditioning
South?
on.
Was it?
Yeah,
was
of
this
course, it's
in the
South.
summer?
In the South, in the summer, no air conditioning because it fucks with sound, and your crew
Holy
is sweating the
fuck.
fuck out of. Of course,
Are you
you
fucking?
need
That's
water.
that's cruel and inhumane not to provide water.
Right. At
That's-
that point, I was like, no, that's
No.
bullshit.
Oh my god, no. This is why I gave up working in entertainment, because I'm fucking done dealing with people like this.
Right. So anyway, that's a small rant of one of the more tame stories of the kind of crap that I've run into before on that kind of front. But it was like, no, I had a what conversation because I was like, how are you refusing to buy water?
Holy
under these
shit, you're an
circumstances?
actual psychopath.
Right.
Like you had that moment.
I will shut this down. I had to threaten to shut down the set with this individual at least 3 separate occasions because of crap like this.
Yeah,
There's
that's
one point where he refused to feed the crew.
Why and how?
He kept delaying with me by saying it's around the corner. That he had already ordered.
That asshole.
Right.
Those
And I was like-
motherfuckers.
I was like, it has been around the corner for about an hour. We're
Around
shutting
the
down the
corner
set
of
until
what?
food appears.
Around the corner
And
of what,
then-
Nazareth? What the fuck?
After I shut down the set, he sends somebody out to go get Taco Bell. I was like, all right, sufficient. But
About to say Taco Bell is like
no, it's around the corner, and he sends somebody out to go get
to
a
go
new
get
order.
fast food.
Mhm.
Around the corner implies because okay, so when I
It
was
implies
training,
it exists and is on the way.
when
And
I
is
was
on the way,
when I
right?
was training for those
The
who
order
don't
has
know,
been made.
For those who don't know, a while back I was training to be an Aflac insurance agent. They are really fucking close to MLM, which is really scary.
Yes.
Okay. So when I was
And there are DMT buffs.
okay. So when I was training under them, around the corner meant specifically that food is on the way, like it's coming on site. Because when you were training
Right.
with when you were training
it's
with
in
Aflac,
someone's car.
it was coming. It was coming to
Yeah,
the
it's
place.
physically in a vehicle being transported at this
Right.
time. Right. I got to the point that any project I would work on in the industry, I would ask if it was catered, and if they said no, I wouldn't take it. Because I was like, fuck off. I'm like,
That's not even
I'm
a
making
question
sure.
you have to ask.
No, I'm like, is it
in
catered?
film.
Is
Yeah.
it catered, or are we ordering? They're
'Cause
like, we're ordering.
The
I'm not
obvious
fucking
answer
doing
should
it.
be
Like,
yes, that
like,
food will be supplied for your crew. But
I'm not fucking doing it then.
Yeah.
No. If it's not catered, because catered implied like tables and buffet shit. But if they
Right.
were like, it's fast food, I'm like, they're never gonna order enough for everyone. No, fuck off. I'm not doing it. No, it has to be catered.
Yeah, no.
I learned early on, if you're running a set, to have too much food.
Yes. Too much food, too much water,
much food
and
is-
lots of pillows and
But
seats.
yeah, anywho, that's my rant. And ooh,
And on that note,
speaking of catering, my roommate just sent me a DM that says
I
there's
have
stir
to feed
fry.
this. Speaking of, I'm making
So-
hot dogs and tater tots for dinner. I'm being lazy as shit.
I need to
I'm gonna
know.
probably go
cheesy
do that.
tots.
What
I
am
think
I
I'm gonna do
doing for
cheesy
food?
tots tonight.
I think I'm doing just like Totino's pizzas tonight.
We've gone from talking about union busting to pontificating on food, but
Yes.
it's about time for things to end at that point.
Yeah,
It
thank
is.
you
But-
guys for having
yeah.
me on so last minute. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for having me. on.
Absolutely. Thanks for showing up at like such short fucking notice where it was like, hey, I'm just going to send Jen a
Anyone else-
WhatsApp. Hey,
Anyone else besides you two, I would have been like, fuck off. But it's
I was fully anticipating and ready to accept a fuck off from that.
I'm
But
doing
I'm glad
that
that
to
you
you
came
though.
on.
Like you never know what I'm just gonna. I love doing that to you. It's like, is Jen gonna show up? Well, why?
Jen gonna
is
show-
Jen
all right.
not?
if I'd gotten a fuck off bat, I would have been like, all right, Jen doesn't want to come on. Totally chill. Let's continue, right? Like it would have been fucking fine.
I'm sure you were like,
But-
wait, she's putting her eyebrows on. Holy shit!
Yeah, no, that's where I was. I was like, oh, okay, she's coming on. Excellent.
Like,
Let's do
thank
this.
you guys so much
So, yeah.
for this. I appreciate it.
No problem. That
But
all
yeah, I
said,
guess with that. Oh yeah, we need to like wave around hammers because it is hammered out. I don't know what are we calling?
have a
It's not
dragon.
Thursday anymore.
I have a dragon.
I
What?
have a shotgun.
I'm the only one that still has this fucking hammer thing going on for this show.
I need-
Cirrus.
I need to order a new
is
one
going-
still.
Get going on. Do I need to like?
The gun just fell on my head.
I saw that.
I feel violated.
The gods are angry. That's what's
Ocean
happening.
and I are like, it's not proper gun safety. We're having like mild meltdowns.
All right,
I do not feel safe
Happy
in
Tears
my
Day.
own home.
I'm out. We'll
Yeah.
see you guys later.
Bye.
Everyone.